Alright, cool. We're recording.
Alright, good deal.
Apparently Cardboard Carl wasn't a very big hit last time.
Is that right?
So
I think we can do it without Carl.
Alright. No Cardboard Carl this time.
Yeah. But why don't you set this up, because you kind of surprised me with what we're going to be going over today.
That's good, I guess.
Yeah.
There is a correction in the last video, the most basic part of the math we did. I screwed up. So, if you care, pay attention to the upper right-hand corner. We don't want to feed false information. So, if you see a little exclamation, asterisk, I'll probably try and add it into the video right here. So, like this little thingy up here. Click on it, and then it'll tell you what the correction is. We also forgot to tell people to like, subscribe, and comment.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that's important.
Yeah, the comments. We're gonna have. I'll try and remember in this because we're gonna go over the Nevada Big Game Survey. It was sent out a couple weeks ago. They sent it to, from what my sources told me, at NDOW. They sent it to 20,000 applicants from last year, which was about a quarter of all applicants. And the reason we're going over it is it's a really good survey. I'm really glad that NDOW took the initiative and sent this out because a lot of hunters have been upset over the last few years. The thing I don't like is they did so much good in this survey, but they only sent it to 1 out of 4 people. You know, that's the ratio.
Yeah.
And it's that is the part where it's you did so good, but you screwed up by not sending it to everybody because everybody would have appreciated this survey. And if they didn't appreciate it, they just wouldn't have taken it. But I didn't get a survey. Did you get a survey?
No, not that I recall, no.
And hunting and deer hunting especially, it means a lot to me. I would have liked to put my input on this instead of have to rely on those other people to answer for me. So,
yeah, definitely.
So we're going to go over the survey. If you wish that you had gotten a survey, just comment in the section below this video and just say yes. So we're going to try and push that. I'm going to try and push that to the guys I know at NDOW, hey, a lot of people want this survey that didn't get it, so maybe next time you'll get a survey. We'll see how much pull I have. I wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, and I'd just be interested in who they choose to send the survey to, because, depending on where you live in the state and what have you, your knowledge of some of the questions, and I'm going to be honest with you, I've gone through this first page just because it's sitting right here in front of me, but haven't deep dove into it. But just with the first several questions, there's some things in here that, people that spend a lot of time in the field could probably answer better than people that just drew a tag in the last, once in the last 5 years or something. Yeah. Yeah,
and that's why I think the survey should have went to everybody instead of just, 1 out of 4. And I'm sure they did an auto generation where they just randomly selected them.
Yep.
I know the survey was a little different for non-residents. They did get some non-residents did get surveys, and the survey was slightly different for them. The answer I got from the people that sent out the survey, the reason they didn't send it to everybody was because they didn't want people to get survey fatigue, and they knew that some people wouldn't answer the survey, which to me is kind of like a cop-out. It's a little bogus.
Yeah.
Because if you don't want to take the survey, just don't take it. But
you're missing people that care.
You're missing people that care.
There's a lot of people out there that actually care.
Yes, that didn't get the survey.
Didn't get the survey. Yeah.
And that's the part I don't like, because it's you sent it to 20,000 people. You could have very easily sent it to everybody, and you could have gathered that information from everybody. So. Yeah.
No, it's good notes to take to
end up. Yeah. So that's my critique for the boys there. And actually, one of the guys I know at NDOW, I'm going to leave the names out of it because none of them really gave me throw my name in there.
Yeah.
But one of the guys there who was in part making the survey, he actually said that he wished the survey had gone to everybody.
Yeah.
Which,
it just makes the most sense. Yeah.
I'm wearing a hat now because I noticed in the last video my bald ass head was shining some light off of it. So.
Yeah.
All right.
How do you want to roll this?
We got to set a timer because I figured out the camera.
Okay.
I'll start this one. So, first question on the survey. This was sent The only reason I even know about the survey was because my wife got one. So I know that this survey was for the residents. I don't know the non-resident survey, but this survey was the one for the residents. So we're going to start at question 1. It says, are you a Nevada resident or a non-resident big game hunter?
Okay, obviously we're residents.
A, resident, B, non-resident. Obviously, yeah, we're residents. Okay, don't have to dive into that one very much. All right, question 2. Overall, how satisfied are you with the job that NDOW does managing big game hunting opportunities in Nevada? A, very satisfied. B, somewhat satisfied. C, neutral. D, somewhat dissatisfied. Or E, very dissatisfied. Joel, how would you rank NDOW?
You know, I might have mentioned it in the last video, but I've hunted a lot of states in the western United States, and the quality that you have here in Nevada is top notch. And
Yeah.
I might be a little biased because it's my backyard and I get to scout and be out and camping and doing other things with family and stuff like that through the summer months and watch animals and learn places. But really, if I was going to answer this survey, I would say somewhat satisfied, because I feel like we still kill too many does. I think that when we know that the cow population for elk has gotten a spike or something, we go in there and just kill a bunch of cows, and then I think there's room between somewhat satisfied and being very satisfied. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We don't kill does anymore, but we have killed does for a very long time in Nevada. And I know that a lot of people, including myself, have been upset with that over the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, especially in units where, in our own backyard that we've seen hurt.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we've seen the populations decline, and it's like, I know you're only allocating, 2 to 3% doe tags of the entire population, but it's still, to me, that's too much.
Yeah.
I don't see it being necessity.
So what about you?
We'll probably do a mathematical breakdown of that, on why I feel like we shouldn't shoot does. I would say I'm somewhat satisfied. NDOW manages the elk, but they're not the ones who set the elk numbers in every unit. You can look that up if you just Google NDOW elk management plan. There's a conglomerate of other groups that actually, like ranching societies, that set the numbers for the elk, and NDOW has to manage within those numbers. So when it comes to elk, it's like, I can't be too mad at NDOW because a lot of it's out of their hands. Now, there is a lot of talk about opening up that elk management plan, which we'll probably try and get into that.
That might be a deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be a deep dive. I'd like to get somebody on that actually is.
Because I didn't know that.
Yeah. A lot of people don't. With deer, that's where I would say I'm pretty dissatisfied with management, and it's just because I understand that there has been a big lack of precipitation over the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like they changed or tried to adjust.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have been experimenting, trying to figure out ways to lessen the bleeding. Like, we were still going to bleed, but they didn't really do a whole lot to lessen the bleeding. And that's the part that I didn't really like. They're doing a lot of work now. They have been doing a lot of mastication projects, getting rid of a lot of PJ coverage, bringing back the shrub. BLM's finally getting some horses rounded up, which that's a huge detriment.
Yeah, that's a big one
So I think we're on the up and up, and then we just had the 3 wettest winters since the 80s. So I think deer populations will come back. But I would say I'm somewhat satisfied. I think there's always room for improvement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Until I can feasibly have the chance at a 200-inch buck every year, I'm not going to answer very satisfied.
Feasibly.
There's a 200-inch buck in every unit in Nevada.
100%.
We both hunt out of state a lot.
Yep.
I don't want Nevada to be like Utah, where you get excited because you see a forky.
No.
Nevada's much better than any other state we have around, except maybe Colorado. But Colorado just has the benefit of habitat and moisture that we don't.
Yeah, and Colorado has its own challenges. When you live in Nevada and you go hunting in Colorado, it's just the people, the volume. It's it's hard to deal with.
In Colorado, the last 10 years or so, they've actually been managing for like reduced deer herds and opportunities. So it's like it's getting harder to find big bucks in Colorado.
Yeah, for sure.
So Nevada's still the best of all the western states in my opinion, but I think there's room for improvement.
Yeah. All right, I'll take number 3. So in general, how have the number of big game hunting tags available in Nevada changed over the past few years, 2022 to 2024 is what they're being specific about here. So this is pretty much a test of your knowledge.
Yeah, and it says tag numbers are about the same. Tag numbers have gone up. Tag numbers have gone down, or I'm not sure. Well, 2022 tag numbers were fairly high. They were actually, there were some places they were increased. 2023, because 22, 23 we had that hard winter. 2023 was a pretty dramatic drop. 2024 is the lowest tags ever in Nevada since they started the application system, I think, in 1976. So tag numbers have actually gone down. Just speaking of Area 10, which is the rubies, those are the most deer tags in the state. I think 2022 for the early rifle there was over 1,000. 23, I think there was like 450. Last year there was like 293 residents. So I mean it's gone down a lot. This year the number is probably going to go back up. It is going back up. I think it's going to be like 600.
Yeah.
Which is still low compared to like the long-term tag allotment for it.
So
but yeah, tags have gone down.
Like from my perspective,
for deer. That's for deer. For antelope, they've actually been going up, and elk they've been going up. If I'm not mistaken on that. Bighorn sheep they've gone down, dealing with drought in southern Nevada. I've had a lot of disease die off too. They've gone down dramatically.
That's a good note to take though about this question because it doesn't specify species.
Right. It's
so it's a pretty general.
Yeah. So that's a little more in-depth coverage of that question.
Yeah. All right.
Question 4. Are you aware of the county advisory boards to manage wildlife system, referred to as CABs or county game boards? Yes or no?
No.
See, I wasn't aware of this until a few years ago. I do know somebody who's on the CAB board here in Elko. Hopefully, I think I can get him on the show. I think he'll come on and talk about it at some point. Cool. If we get a good following.
Yeah, I didn't know. I wasn't aware of that.
But yeah, the county.
Do they help influence county advisory boards management of wildlife systems? So somebody locally that understands local farming, local logistics, local everything,
local hunting, all that stuff. Yeah, so it's like you have your county board, which are people from your county, and then every county has that board. And then you have the Wildlife Commission that's at the top of it. Yeah. Then you have NDOW over here. They just refer numbers to them, and then they decide on numbers.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 5. Would you be interested in becoming more involved in wildlife conservation in Nevada? And I was just thinking about this today because I saw an Elko Bighorns guzzler project coming up for I think Grafton. They're going to do one in June 28th, I think. Mm-hmm. So I got a flyer for that or some kind of advertisement for that. And I was just thinking, you know what? I haven't done enough. So yeah, I would like to become more involved.
Yeah. I definitely would like to become more involved. It's tough with time, with kids, and business and whatnot. But I do try to work in a little bit of that within my business. I know it's a small part and I have a small sample size, but I send the teeth off for aging. That's on my own accord.
That's fun.
It's cool. It's neat info. And then I, unprovoked and unwilling, maybe, I shove that information to the guys I know at NDOW and I'm like, hey, check this out. This is what I'm gathering. But it's just a small sample size. Yeah. But I try to have contact. I would like to volunteer more, but it's tough for me.
But you're also educating your clients too. So I mean,
yes,
if you're educating your clients and they look at a deer or an elk or something like that, and they're like, "Wow, that's only a 3-year-old."
Yeah,
it triggers something in their brain and start kind of
the opposite effect too. You get a buck that's in the prime of their life. The prime is 6, 7, and 8. At 5, they're like 90 to 95% of their full potential. But I've had bucks come in the shop that are 130 and 140 class bucks that are 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
Prime of their life.
Yeah,
they're never going to amount to anything more than what they are.
Not everybody's going to be 6'7" and be a basketball player.
Yeah, exactly.
You know
That's
what I mean?
just it,
So,
man. It takes a lot to grow a big buck.
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. Right. Where are we at now?
5A? Would you prefer to be involved?
How would you prefer to be involved? Checked all that apply. Attend in-person county advisory board, the CAB meetings. I suggest everybody do that. That's the best way to get involved. Let your voice be heard. Go to those meetings.
And it's like in your county, it's like in your place of interest. So.
Yeah, I think that's something NDOW needs to be better at pushing when those meetings are, and whether they're talking to the CAB people or whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know when these meetings are. The information's not easy to find.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Attend virtual county advisory board meetings. You can do that as well. And
So
you
there's
can actually
virtual.
put in public input too.
So that's not bad. If they have a virtual route, that's good.
Attend virtual commission meetings. So that's the upper echelon above the counties. And then volunteer for NDOW, volunteer for NGOs. That'd be like Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, Nevada Bighorns. Then I'm not sure, then other. So they leave a suggestion in there too.
Huh.
So.
No, that's good information,
Yeah.
All right, number 6. Is it my turn or your turn?
I don't care.
Okay.
Send it.
Which entity sets hunting seasons and big game tag quotas each year in Nevada? You have A, Nevada NDOW, B, NBWC, which is Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners, C, County Advisory Boards, D, I'm not sure, E, other. And honestly, I'm at the...
I know the answer.
I think it's
Pick
B.
me.
I think it's B, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the Nevada Board of Wildlife Commissioners.
Yeah.
So as I was saying earlier, you have your CAB, your county boards, right? The commission are the head honchos. They're the guys in charge of everything. They set the numbers. NDOW refers based off of their scientific studies and research and surveys and all that. They refer numbers. And then the county boards take into effect the local population and that the county meeting and what they suggest. The county will refer to the commissioners, and the commissioners take in part what the county says as well as what NDOW says, and then they come to an agreement.
Okay. Huh.
Yep.
Good info. Yeah.
All right. Which information sources do you rely on for information about hunting, wildlife management, and conservation in Nevada? NDOW website,
There's a lot here.
friends and family, NDOW publications, NDOW emails, NDOW staff, other hunters, hunting publications and services, conservation organizations, other websites or internet forums, podcasts, YouTube, or other. There's a lot of questions.
I have a mixture because every year...
And you can check all that apply.
Yeah, every year, I mean, there's several podcasts that I listen to that touch on Nevada, like every year. So there's a few podcasts I listen to. Definitely NDOW website. Emails. NDOW emails. That's probably the strongest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, a lot of it has to do with the website. I do my own research and deep dive into it. I don't really pay too much attention to like emails. I do, but it's like most of the emails I get are things I already know.
Oh.
Because I've done the research.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't listen to friends or family because a lot of them are wrong.
I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah. NDOW staff. Yeah, I do listen to.
Friends and family, like our own friends.
Yeah, like our own friends.
Oh,
and family.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I was sitting here thinking there's a podcast called Friends or Family.
No.
Yeah.
I don't listen to other hunters.
My bad. I'm slow. That's all right.
Hunting publications, services. I mean, I guess the wildlife regs are publications, so I read those. So yeah. Podcasts. I listen to podcasts, but not for too much other than. I
just listen to the Epic, to the Hunt and Full, to the Randy Newberg. Like they always touch on. Honestly, like tracks or what's it called now? Whatever his is.
Fresh Tracks.
Yeah. Like, they actually bring pretty good information.
They're legit. They're good.
Yeah,
they do a lot of good information. Yeah. All right. We're running out of time in this clip, so
cool.
Let's
do 8.
Well, that'll be part 1. We're gonna have to stop and reset.
Okay. So do we want to start a part 2 right now?
All right, I think I got the bugs worked out.
All right. You ready, Chad?
Still learning technology. Yeah. This is part 2. We tried to do part 2 when we filmed part 1, but technology and cameras and us don't mix that well.
Yeah.
So.
And you'll notice it cooled down a little bit. We're in a little bit different attire today.
Yes.
Yeah. Last time, just a few days ago, we were in shorts and
t-shirts,
and then it cooled down.
Chilly.
Again, so.
All right.
But anyhow,
we're on question 8 of the Nevada NDOW's Big Game Survey that they sent out to 20,000 applicants from last year, which was roughly a quarter of all the applicants. And so far, the feedback from like what I've asked and like posted on Facebook and whatnot, even people that got it didn't know that not everybody got it.
Oh,
and
really?
Everybody's also saying like everybody should have gotten it. Like,
yeah.
So that our one big critique to the NDOW, like this is a great survey, but it should have gone to everybody. And so far, the consensus agrees. Like Nevada hunters agree. Like this should have been everybody.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Right.
All right, go for it.
Okay. Question 8. How would you prefer NDOW to share information with you about hunting, wildlife management, and conservation in Nevada? Please check all that apply. In-person seminars, virtual seminars, YouTube, website, email, podcast, Instagram, Facebook. I'm not interested. J, other.
So, I mean, we're kind of cheating because we kind of went through these last time and didn't get recorded. But,
Yeah.
like, YouTube's a big one.
YouTube's huge.
I watch a lot of YouTube.
Yeah, Wyoming, they have the Wyoming Department of Wildlife. They have their own YouTube channel. They post a lot of studies there. They talk about the deer herd, the healths, all that. Like, they have a really good YouTube channel.
Really informative, yeah.
Yep. So,
I said email. I said email last time, but I'm one of those guys that, like, I don't just mass delete all my emails.
Yeah.
I kind of look through them and I'm like, okay, that's important, that's not important. So.
Yeah. Well, an email's one of those things too. It's like, it's so easy for them to send out to everybody and just put them on, put everybody on an email list. So it's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
Even if only, say 20% of the people view their emails or even less, it's like, all right, it took you 10 minutes to send that email. So.
Yeah. And it could refer you to a YouTube link.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
The virtual seminars and the in-person seminars, I know some people like that. It's not really my thing.
It's kind of tough. It's a time thing.
Yeah, time thing. It's hard. Podcast. Oh yeah, this was something I said the last time. Nevada, NDOW has their own podcast. The thing I don't like about their podcast, I listen to it all the time, but the thing I don't like about their podcast is it's only half an hour long, and they just skim the top on a subject. Huh. They don't really go into depth or detail of what's going on.
Really?
You don't get a whole lot of information on it, and that's like the topics they talk about. You really got to do a deep dive. Like they should be hour and a half podcasts.
Yeah, for sure, and probably go over feedback and Q&A stuff and what have you.
Yeah. Yep. Instagram and Facebook.
We just talked about Facebook. Facebook.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at Facebook in years.
Yeah,
but I have an account. Instagram. And I have an Instagram, yeah. So Instagram would be a good one.
Yeah.
And maybe there's still a lot of Facebook users out there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know you do Facebook.
Yeah. There's a lot of Facebook users out there, but again, those are ones where it's like it's really easy to post and it's not time consuming and it's just more information. Like my opinion, you want to mass blast the information.
Yeah.
So that everybody can get it. So you got to go through multiple channels, but you want everybody to have that information. And you can put links on Instagram and Facebook to like the NDOW website. Like, say, I think the approved quotas just came out. Like NDOW could put a post out that says the 2025 approved big game quotas. Click this link and it takes you to the website and it would show you that. Like, that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all kinds of ways that you can people can get reached out to.
And I think instead of focusing on one, like you want to use
them
all of them.
Yeah, because we just proved it.
There's people that use YouTube.
You feed off some things, I feed off other things. Yeah,
so. Everybody's different. They get their information different sources.
Yeah. All right, number 9. NDOW is considering launching a free phone app that would allow you to have a copy of all your active licenses, big game hunting tags, and regulations on your phone. Would you download and use a phone app like this if NDOW built it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's yes, no, or I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will say with 100% certainty I would.
I would use an app.
Because Arizona and Utah both have an app.
Yeah. Yeah, and I use them.
I use them. They're great. You don't have to worry about losing your little tag, showing up at deer camp, you're like, oh no, my tag. Like, everybody has their phone on them all the time.
I was on Utah today because draw results should be coming out anytime now. So,
And you can use those apps with no service. You just go in there, fill it out, you're done.
Yeah, you have all your stuff downloaded. Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, especially in a day like today where everybody has a phone.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Question 10. The Nevada Youth License Fund. Oh, hold on a second. Made that whoopsie daisy.
Oh, timing.
All right. We got it going. Question 10. The Nevada Youth License Fund is a 100% donation-driven program built to offer kids 12 to 17 years old a free 365-day youth combination hunting fishing license to the extent funding is available. On a scale of 1 to 5, how familiar are you with this program? Not at all familiar, slightly familiar, somewhat familiar, moderately familiar, extremely familiar.
Yeah, and I wasn't familiar at all with it. So.
Yeah, and we both have kids.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm only familiar with it last year and this year.
Really?
That's it.
Huh.
I don't know when it started. I don't know how. Is there a waiting list? Do you have to put your name on a list? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something to deep dive into.
Yeah.
And another question, another something that could be covered during a podcast or in like any kind of these other things we were just talking about. So. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you get on that list? Yep. I mean, I'll probably end up buying my boys their licenses.
Yeah.
Rather than use this program. I
might as well just read the next
one. I'm somewhat familiar because I've heard of it the last 2 years.
And I am not familiar at all with it. Okay. But I don't have young kids anymore either. I've got 18-year-olds. So, yeah. Okay.
Question 11. Do you have children?
Yes.
Yes.
Pretty general question.
Yep. I've got 2 young boys. You have an older daughter.
Yep.
All right, you're on question 12.
All right. Should the department prioritize big game hunting opportunities for junior hunters 12 through 17 years old? And it's a yes or no.
Yes or no.
We talked about this a minute.
Yeah, this might have to be a deep dive into these few questions.
Yeah.
I have 2 sons. I know they're going to grow up loving hunting because they come out to the shop and help me all the time. They love going hunting. They talk about it. They play in the backyard. That's like their life right now. No. I don't think Nevada should prioritize youth big game tags.
No.
And what we talked about on this, and I don't like. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers.
This is probably an answer for 13.
Yeah.
For question 13.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
We'll dive into this on question 13.
So 12 for 12. I guess I would want to know the definition of prioritize.
Yes.
Like, what does that mean? Does that mean like an allotment, raise the allotment for junior hunters, which I wouldn't be so much against. But 13 will cover kind of what I think what we're starting to dive into. Yeah. So it's a yes or no question. Yeah. I would have to understand what prioritize means.
Yeah.
To really answer well. If I was just getting this survey and I had young kids, I think I would lean towards yes. I want to prioritize my kids to be able to hunt.
Yeah, but what if that prioritization meant every junior that applies gets a tag, and then all the leftovers go to adults?
Exactly, and that's why we need to understand that definition.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say right from the beginning, I'll say no.
Yeah.
Because juniors can apply for adult tags too.
Yeah, they can.
So, let's do question 13. To offer Nevada junior hunters more opportunities to go big game hunting in Nevada, please let us know which of the following ideas you support. Check all that apply. dedicating some antlerless mule deer tags to junior hunters. I'm going to stop right there and pound the desk and say no. Absolutely not. Quit killing doe deer.
I'm with you on that.
Most people are.
Yeah.
Okay. Dedicating some antlerless cow tags to junior hunters. Adding additional hunt days to junior mule deer hunt seasons. Making junior mule deer tags in either sex. Again, pound the desk. No, quit killing does.
Yep.
I do not support any of these ideas or other fill in the blank. And yeah, like I said in the last question, I know I'm going to ruffle feathers. Everybody, calm down. Don't get your panties in a bunch. I have 2 sons, okay?
So in regards to B, dedicating some antlerless cow tags to junior hunters, my brother's, my nephew, when he was 13,
Yeah.
the Wine Cup did offer special tags for the Wine Cup to only hunt the specific like fields for cows, and I thought that was cool. And at the time, you could harvest some cows and it wouldn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
So I think there's some discretion there, but
Yeah.
I'm not too against the cow stuff, but mule deer in this state need some help.
Yeah. So I actually had a really good conversation with a client of mine, and he has kids, and he's raised kids through the junior hunts and whatnot. And we were both, we were talking, and we both kind of had like the same opinion when it came to it. I love that the juniors and the doe antelope tags, like I love that they can get those. Like they just made those predominantly junior tags. It's like 75%.
Yeah, which I didn't know until you told me. Yeah.
It's a good time of year to go because it's nice and warm.
Mm-hmm.
Doe antelope is the easiest big game animal to hunt.
Not with a bow.
Not with a bow.
With a rifle, yeah.
But like it's the easiest because you drive around.
Yeah.
You see a lot of animals. You get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
And then
you get some,
unlike
you
a
get
cow.
some stalking in. You get some. You can practice some methods of hunting.
And then unlike a cow elk, it's not a miserable pack out.
Yeah.
They don't weigh anything. So they get to learn how to gut it, how to skin it, how to pack it out.
Yeah.
It's not a physically demanding hunt, and it's
It's
really good too because you're also not spoiling a youth. And I say that, not being a jerk, but like with a youth deer tag, they get priority for like great late season pre-rut bucks.
Ready.
So a lot of times they'll shoot the biggest buck of their life. Then by the time they become an adult and they get their first adult tag, and the season dates aren't beneficial to them, they're just like, oh, I don't really like hunting that much anymore.
Yeah.
I've already killed my trophy. So I'm not in huge favor of that many deer tags being allotted for juniors. So, it's like, I think, there should be some, but I don't think there should be near as many as there are.
Yeah.
I love the idea of doe antelope tags because that's a way to retain hunters because they're like, yes, it's the easiest hunt. It's the most basic beginner hunt. Yeah. And that's what you want the youth to get started on, and then you want them to progress slowly. You don't want to start them at the top of the mountain, and then they're fighting their whole life to try and get back to it. You want to start them here where they can get better, have more success, do those harder hunts, hunt for them bigger animals.
And honestly, with doe antelope, I stopped putting in for doe antelope like 3 years ago. I don't feel compelled to do it, but for a youth, I would enjoy the meat. 100%.
Yeah, meat's amazing.
I enjoy the meat. But for youth like that, you're right. I mean, all those points you hit are pretty spot on.
Yeah.
But like letter C for the choices, adding additional hunt days to junior mule deer hunt seasons.
Yeah, not a fan.
I'm not a fan of that.
I definitely am not a fan of antlerless deer tags. We might do a breakdown on the board, a mathematical breakdown of why I don't think you should shoot does.
Yeah.
Basically, the whole $30 to 100, you can manipulate that if you don't have a control on one of them, right? Like, if to have that ratio, because nature tries to bust everything out at 50-50, right?
Yeah.
So, as wildlife managers, they're trying to control it at 30 to 100, right? So, if you don't control the doe species by, like, not hunting them, then it just makes the 30 number, like, if you're hunting does.
Yeah.
I know I'm confusing people now.
Yeah.
If you're hunting does, you can manipulate that 30 to 100 ratio because if you over harvest bucks,
Yes.
then you can just harvest a bunch of does to get that 30 to 100 ratio back.
Which we might see. And you know, I'm not
Yeah.
naysaying any of the biologists or anything like that.
Yeah.
We've seen it in our own backyard. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me.
It doesn't make any
To go
sense to
shoot
me
a
either.
bunch of does.
Yeah. Antelope are much more prolific than deer.
Yes.
And actually, the wildfires and everything that's decimated a lot of deer habitat, the antelope thrive in that.
Yeah, they're doing
So
pretty well.
the antelope have been doing amazing.
There was a unit I was in this last hunting season for early season deer guiding, and I could not believe the amount of antelope that were in that corner. It was amazing to me. 20 years of guiding, I never seen that many antelope in that country. So
Yeah, and
it was burn stuff.
Yeah, and that's just where it's like the antelope. I don't feel guilty about shooting doe antelope because they're not struggling. We're the highest antelope population I think we've ever been at. Whereas like deer, we're one of the lowest populations we have ever been in. So why do you need to kill the ones that make the deer the does? You know, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk more about that one later.
Yeah, we'll have to get into the weeds on that one.
Yeah. All right. 14.
I know we're ruffling feathers already.
Well, it's okay.
Post your comments. Make them funny if you're going to trash talk us.
Yeah. 14. In your opinion, on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 not at all important and 5 very important, how important are bonus points to increasing your odds of drawing a big game tag in Nevada? Now, just to put some precedence or some substance to this, this is a survey they send out to 20% of the population.
25%.
25%. So we're probably going to come at it from an educated standpoint. Most people will look at this and say, and draw their own conclusions from their experience of drawing tags, not drawing tags, things like that. So the choices are not at all important. They're of low importance for B. C, slightly important.
Then D is moderately important.
Oh, is there D?
Very important. I'm not sure. There are a lot of people I know that are going to say I'm not sure because a lot of people don't understand exactly how the draw works. And after our last video, next year, we're going to have to do a very deep dive into the draw, how the whole draw system works.
Yeah. Well, we
and try and break that down like as Barney style as possible. Because there was a lot of things like
that first video was a little long-winded, I know, but
I feel like we can break that into probably 10 different sections and cover literally everything from party hunts to how the draw works to bonus points, all that stuff.
So I'm gonna, of course, we know. So I'm gonna say very important, but
it's very important unless you get lucky.
Unless you get lucky,
know, there's nuance to it. Because,
there is.
Like you said, if you have 0 points, you only get one name in the hat.
Yep.
If you have, and your odds increase exponentially. So if you have 7 points, like I have for antelope,
you have 49.
I have 49 on the bonus points, but then I have the 1 for that year's application.
50.
So I have 50 names in the hat.
Yeah.
To try and get a high priority number.
There's probably a lot of, and I've guided a fair share of people that are, especially non-residents. It's wild.
Yeah.
Where they're like 1 to 3 point holders, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's great. I drew a dog tag." I'm like,
"You know how lucky you are,
man. You don't even know how lucky you are."
Yeah. All right, let's. We're on question 15 now. Let's take a break there. I think we're working out the bugs on the camera. So
okay, sounds good.
Break it. All right, part 3. Everything's going smooth, I think, so far.
All right.
Hopefully it stays that way.
Yeah.
All right, who's up? You or me?
Okay, 15. I think it's me. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know that you can return a big game tag in Nevada for any reason up to 1 business day before the hunt starts?
Yes, I do know that.
I did know that too. Yep.
If you check alternate on your application, that has to be, like a tag has to be returned within 14 business days for it to go to an alternate.
Yes.
That's why they started the first come, first serve.
Yep.
There were a lot of tags that weren't getting used because a lot of people would turn them in for that 14 day or there were no alternates. And to be an alternate, it's only on your first choice.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep, we covered this in the first video.
Mm-hmm. So, I did know that. It's a great thing. Now, you do have to decide when you return. When you return a tag, you can have money back or you can have your points back, but you can't have both.
Can't have both.
So if you got a lot of points, it's better to, just eat the money.
Just eat the money. Yeah.
But if you have no points, just take the money.
Yeah. So yes, I did.
There was one other thing I think NDOW will even give you a point for that year if you return your tag. But I got to double check that. Don't quote me on it.
I'm not sure either.
I'm not sure on that.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Right on.
question 16. Which of the following best describes your familiarity with NDOW's first come, first serve tag program? I've received a tag through first come, first serve. I've tried to get a tag through first come, first serve, but have been unsuccessful. I'm familiar with first come, first serve, but have never tried to get a tag through it. I'm not familiar. I'm not sure. I'm very familiar with it.
I am familiar, but I have yet to score a tag.
Yeah, it's one of those things, man. It's like, it's up. You got to click on it. You have to be reading it while you're moving your finger to click on it.
Yeah.
They go that quick.
Yeah, and I think you have, the first year they had it, you couldn't bow out of it. Now it's a 5 minute. Is it a 5 minute window for you to look at what the area is?
All right, so the first year they did it, there were a lot of people that would add it to cart.
Yes, yep.
Then they'd figure out like the unit it was, and then decide, to return the tag, whatever. But then they could get right back in and start picking up tags again.
Oh, now it's a
And then the next year they made it to where it's like once you pick up a tag, you're out for 7 days.
Oh, it's 7 days.
I think it's 7 days. So, and you can't pick up a tag for 7 days. So it's actually the little kinks they worked out of it have been really good because the first year return tags, a non-resident could pick up a resident return tag, and now it's residents get resident return tags, non-resident get non-resident return tags, and it's great for everybody. I mean, financially, it's great for NDOW because they're selling those tags multiple times.
Yeah.
But for hunters, like, don't complain about NDOW making money on it because it's a great system and a lot of people are happy with it. So it's a win-win in my book.
Yeah, and
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a great program. Even though I haven't successfully got a tag for one yet.
Yeah.
But there's been times where I get on there and I've clicked and I'm like, I don't want to hunt that area.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right, 17. Nevada big game populations face many threats. On a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being non-important and 10 being very important, how do each of these impact Nevada's big game populations? So A is wildfires from 0 to 10. Short term?
Let's read through all of them first.
Yeah, okay.
Wildfires, wild horses, predators, human development, increased OHV use off-highway vehicles, like side-by-sides hitting the landscape, drought, habitat loss from invasive plant species. It's all of them.
So it's just, you just rate them, right?
Yeah.
So each one, so A, wildfire, 0 to 10, how much do wildfires impact wildlife? Well, depends on the area.
It depends on the area. Area 6 has been decimated by wildfires.
Yeah.
They suffer greatly because they're in that horrible
that 2023 winter.
Precipitation elevation band where cheatgrass just thrives.
Yep.
So
they don't eat that.
Yeah. No. Antelope thrive in it because a lot of native grasses will come back in it. Elk actually do really well in it because a lot of native grasses do
but
well
deer
in it.
do not because of
deer.
It's not brush.
Yeah, deer. It decimates deer.
So I think it's very important.
I think it's very important.
Depending on the landscape. Wild horses.
Oh yeah, that's one of the worst.
Man, wild horses is one of the worst things I've seen.
One of the worst things because they compete with everything.
Yep, water,
food,
man,
you
water.
name it. Like in a horse, you're talking about a horse that's 1,200 pounds and a deer that's a big buck is 200 pounds, right? So you're talking about something that's 6 times the size. Also, horses are hindgut fermenters and deer are ruminants. So deer are like, and I know that's like scientific lingo for you, but like
still they need a lot.
Deer are so much more efficient with their food intake, where a horse, and you've seen road apples.
Yes.
A horse's gut is just not efficient at all with food. So they eat more than 6 times the amount of a deer.
Yeah.
And I've seen them chase antelope off of water holes before.
Yeah, I've archery hunted blinds on water and the horses come in and it's game over.
Yeah.
It's like
all the hunting I've done, I shot a moose in grizzly country at night, packed it out. I've hunted black bear country, lion country. I've hunted in a lot of dangerous predator country.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been attacked. I've been attacked twice.
Yeah.
Twice while hunting. Both times were horses.
Yeah, they definitely, in my opinion, they definitely need to be regulated.
Managed.
I get their, you know, there's
The landscape can only support so many.
So much. So I mean, we have to be very conscious about their impact.
And you can find the horse ALM numbers, I think is what it is, and that's their management numbers that BLM sits. You can find it on BLM website. And they're doing a lot of roundups recently, the last few years. But the horses have been, let me see, 12 goes into 6. They've been 500% of their management number, their maximum management number within the state.
And they've
been
spread.
500%.
Yeah, and they've spread. Like I'm starting to see them north of 80 now.
Yeah, after 2023, the horse population was, and it still might be the case today, the feral horse population in Nevada is larger than any of our game species.
Yeah.
And that's a 10 to
Yeah.
me. Like, and I'm not one of these guys that says get rid of all of them.
No. They have a place.
Like, they have a place in Nevada, right?
Yep.
I mean, if they were all gone, like, I'm not going to shed a tear over it. But their numbers need to be dramatically reduced. We shouldn't prioritize a feral horse because it's not a wild. They were released.
Mm-hmm.
We shouldn't prioritize that over wild animals.
Yeah. Predators. They're important.
Predators are
Predator
important
control.
to manage. Yeah.
Predator control is hugely important.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it on the same level as horses.
Because they're more efficient.
Yeah, you know, I'd put predators probably a tick above wildfires because summer range, like Area 10, when it burned up at Harrison and then up Lamoille Canyon, that's a moisture band and elevation blend where cheatgrass doesn't thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So wildfires in summer range do a lot of good because that understory comes back up, and that's all deer food.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And it's not just deer food; it's elk food. Everything lives off that. So like summer ranges actually need to burn, like the tops of the mountains need to burn, because that'll be very much more productive for the animals. Winter ranges, when they burn, that's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah. Human development, roads, housing, etc.
We are not on the same as like Colorado. Colorado has a horrible problem with development.
They do. Yeah.
We're different because we're very sparse. There's hardly any water in Nevada, so we don't have a lot of cities. Like when you look at Reno, it impacts wildlife, right? Mm-hmm. Because the Truckee Meadows area and Carson Valley and all that, that used to winter a lot of deer back in the day.
Yep.
Vegas, that's not really big game encroachment.
No.
Not a big deal there.
Yep.
The highways, I-80, they got the animal overpasses.
Yeah.
It's actually
helped out quite a bit.
They've done amazing. But that's not a huge impact on our landscape, in my opinion.
Increased off-highway vehicle OHV use.
Dude, I'm one of those guys that's against side-by-sides.
Yeah, I know.
And I know you're one of those guys that uses a side-by-side.
I use them as a tool, man.
I've been on glass and knobs where I've been looking at deer and elk. It's happened to me twice. I was looking at elk and I heard a side-by-side coming up the road, and I saw those elk pick up out of that meadow, run into the cedars.
Yeah.
Those side-by-sides drove by, and once they got out of earshot, those elk came back out and started feeding. And those elk were a mile away from the road.
Oh, yeah.
And then one time we were archery deer hunting, same thing, side-by-sides coming under us. Those deer got up out of their bed. They were bedded like 500 yards off the road. Took off running, ran over the hill, dropped into the next basin, and they just chilled out as soon as they got to that basin. So they don't like them.
They don't like them, and I can't disagree with that. But I have also used them to my advantage.
Yeah, I mean it's that
I've used them
cost
to my
benefit,
advantage.
right?
I've used them to my advantage because I am mobile. I can't get off the road, and I know that there's a big population of people that decide to stay in their side by sides.
Yeah.
To me, it's a tool to get from A to B.
Yeah, there's a lot.
We go hunt. You know,
there's a lot of screwed up roads that you don't want to drive a pickup up. That you got to drive home as well.
Yeah, but they have increased the spookiness of animals for sure. Drought, big,
huge,
very very important.
Huge.
I mean,
Yeah, we just went through like one of the driest cycles.
Yeah.
Like the last 15 years been like the driest cycle in 1,300 years.
And then just had a devastating winter in 23.
And that's the worst too, when you have a 3-year horrible drought and then you just throw the hardest winter ever on top of it.
Yeah, it was really tough. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing some pretty positive comebacks now, but
Yeah.
I think in the late 2020s we'll see. Like we'll
Yeah,
see.
2020s.
If the weather keeps doing what it's doing, we'll see some benefit. But
Late 2020s,
drought
2030.
Drought can kick you right in the teeth.
Yeah. And then we got habitat loss from invasive plants. That goes in with wildfires.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, on a huge scale, cheatgrass.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, cheatgrass is the big one. And the reason cheatgrass is so bad is like it just
doesn't have anything.
It has a quicker burn cycle. Mm-hmm. You know, sagebrush is fairly like weather burn resistant. Lightning strikes cheatgrass because cheatgrass dries out so quickly.
Yeah.
Boom. You're starting from ground zero again 3 years later.
Yeah.
And then the pinyon juniper encroachment, that's been horrible too because when
In
those catch
some
fire,
areas for sure. Yeah.
that stuff's moonscaped.
It just
when it
gone.
catches on.
Yeah, it just goes.
There's nothing left to it.
Yep. All right, 18. You got it?
Yeah, I guess we better get on with this, huh? Are you in favor of the following big game hunts? Select yes or no. Antlerless elk, mule deer, bighorn sheep, it's antlerless mule deer, and horn shorter than antelope. So it's basically female elk, female mule deer, female sheep, and female antelope. Are you in favor of them?
Man, I'm in favor of antlerless elk. I am not in favor of antlerless mule deer.
Same.
I have killed a ewe in Nevada. I think the first year they let this tag out, never put in for it again. Because I'm really we try to conserve sheep, and I get it. You know, there's numbers that need to be in check, but I don't think you really need a ewe tag.
Yeah.
Horn shorter than ears antelope. Yes, we touched a little bit on that with the youth earlier. I think there's room for that.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of room for doe antelope for sure. Antlerless elk, yes, and I've touched on that too because NDOW, there's an elk management plan that is not controlled by NDOW. It's a bunch of ranching communities that set those numbers. So, and there's no real big time predators for elk. They're not any big time. It's like we don't have wolves that are decimating elk herds. So I do like antlerless elk. I think there's a lot of room for that.
And there's a lot of table fare there. I mean, it's and the number of tags they give out isn't that.
Yeah,
there's not a ton.
Dude, Nevada manages
there's not
the best.
I mean,
the absolute best for what they have.
It took me 5 years to get my last antelope or my last antlerless elk tag.
Yeah, see, I'm never waiting that long.
Yeah,
I get it quick. See, sheep ewe. I'm kind of in between on that because there's a lot of famous
disease.
Sayings. There's the famous saying, "Sheep are born looking for a place to die."
Yeah, they're so sensitive.
They're so sensitive.
So if you get populations that are going out of control and starting to mingle with domestics and stuff like that, I get it because they carry disease back.
Well, and so I shot a ewe on Jefferson 161 a couple years ago, and there were a bunch of sheep in there at the time, and they were giving those ewe tags out like, "Hey, we need to get this herd in check so disease doesn't get to them at some point." Because what'll happen? Those rams will go find a domestic sheep, and try and breed with them right during the rut, and then they go back to their herd and infect all the other sheep.
Yeah. Sheep are weird.
This is where I'm kind of in favor of ewe tags because the very next year, disease got into that unit and decimated that whole unit.
Oh, yeah.
So now you have to turn over stones to find sheep in that unit now.
I just think some of those southern units, 268, 253, there's not domestic sheep around there.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
some of those units are pretty,
but there's not enough waters on the feed. It's very desolate, so I understand.
Yeah. The ewe tags, I understand both aspects of it. It's it'd be nicer if there wasn't as much red tape and we could move the sheep around.
Yeah. And there's some old ewes out there.
Yeah.
If you've ever been sheep hunting down south, it's...
So that one I'm kind of if it was easier to translocate them and
they're not bad table fare, honestly.
Oh, they're fantastic.
They're really good to eat. So,
they're great. So, and then antlerless mule deer. No.
No.
How many times can we say no?
Stop killing doe mule deer.
Quit killing deer. Quit killing doe deer.
Yeah.
All right, 19. On years you do not draw a big game tag in Nevada, do you typically participate in any of the following activities instead? Please check all that play. Big game hunting in other states, big game hunting in Nevada with friends who drew a tag, upland game hunting in Nevada, fishing in Nevada, other, or none of these.
All the above.
All the above, and
Yeah.
waterfowl.
And waterfowl.
Dude, I'm going hunting when it's hunting season.
Yeah, I'm telling you what. Waterfowl's a little underrated in Nevada.
Because the great thing about waterfowl in Nevada, like you go to Florida, there's water everywhere, right? So you gotta find ducks.
You gotta find them.
In Nevada, all you gotta do is find water. You'll find ducks. Waterfowl's legit in Nevada.
Yeah, definitely go out of state. I mean, that's just if you've been hunting in Nevada, or if you live in Nevada and you're a hunter,
Yeah.
and you're waiting for a Nevada tag, don't hold your breath. I mean, it's
Just go hunt.
go hunt somewhere else.
Go share deer camp with friends, even if you don't have a tag. Take a shotgun, shoot chucker.
Yeah.
There's sage grouse. There's a lot of seasons, a lot of upland seasons, a lot of waterfowl seasons.
Yeah.
Coyotes are open year round. Jackrabbits are open year round.
Yeah, chucker in the last couple of years have been thriving.
Man.
Man, there's chucker.
Last year was great.
Yeah.
All right, question 20.
Oh yeah. When it comes to deer hunting in Nevada, which of the following statements best describes what is most important to you? A, I want to go deer hunting every 1 to 3 years. Going deer hunting regularly matters to me. B, I will wait 4 to 7 years to draw a tag if that means I can see mature deer on the landscape. C, I don't care if it takes 8 to 10 years to draw. I want to hunt the best units in the state. D, none of these statements accurately describes how I feel about deer hunting in Nevada.
We are going to start this in the next part because we're running out of time on the camera.
All right.
This is an important
We'll
question.
pick you up on part 4.
I think that's where we're at.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. We're back.
All right.
Question 20. Yeah.
Okay.
This is
All
where
right.
we left off. When it comes to deer hunting in Nevada, which of the following statements best describes what is most important to you? I want to go deer hunting every 1 to 3 years. Going deer hunting regularly matters to me. I will wait 4 to 7 years to draw a tag if that means I can see mature deer on the landscape. I don't care if it takes 8 to 10 years to draw a tag. I want to hunt the best units in the state. D, none of these statements accurately describes how I feel about deer hunting in Nevada. So this one to me is kind of a cop-out on NDOW. They're not recognizing what hunters truly want. Because what hunters truly want, they want to hunt every year.
Yeah.
And they want to have the chance to hunt mature deer every year. So I feel NDOW should have worded this question. We understand hunters want to hunt mature deer every year. But in the years that we cannot provide that, would you rather?
Yeah.
That's my big gripe with this question is like they're ignoring what every hunter wants. Every hunter wants to hunt deer every year and they want the opportunity to hunt mature deer every year. And we want NDOW to manage for that and we want them to accomplish that goal. And they're just not recognizing what we want in this question. So it's like this question gives a lot of hunters angst because it's like, are you so dense you don't understand what we want?
Yeah. Well,
And they're making it to where it's like you have to choose one or the other. It's like no, we want both.
yeah.
Make both happen.
Yeah, and that's the long game, right? Is to make both happen.
Right.
But as Nevadans, like we live in a pretty special state.
Yes.
You can hunt mature deer in every county and every
unit.
in this state. I mean, there's a potential to kill something pretty nice. So
Yeah.
all the don't take that for granted. If you don't hunt out of state, you may not know what we're talking about. It may seem kind of one-sided, but if you've ever hunted out of state,
you
know, like we have something special in Nevada, and we want to keep that. So we don't ever want to go the other way, where we're like, okay, we want to hunt every year, we want to hunt mature deer every year, but even if we don't have mature deer, we still want to hunt every year.
Yeah.
No, you
end up
in
like
my opinion, you really want to just be patient and be
Yeah.
the 1 to 3 year guy
Yeah.
or person, and be the 4 to 7 year person.
Yeah, because
It'll come back if we do it right. It'll come back,
yep,
and we can hunt. In 1 to 3 years, we can hunt.
yeah,
So,
1 to 3 years you'll have the opportunity to hunt mature deer.
yeah.
And like we both hunt out of state.
I'd rather wait. If it was an I'd rather,
Yeah,
I would rather wait 4 years for a deer tag in Nevada.
it's like all the other western states manage for quantity. Like they're managing to give the most amount of tags. And you see it when you hunt Utah, like
Utah,
don't set your
Colorado,
sights bigger than shooting a
general
40.
season Idaho.
You know,
It's-
like you're lucky to see deer in some, like Idaho, a lot of
Yeah.
units you're lucky to even see a deer, but California, Utah, even Colorado nowadays, like you're not finding a mature deer. You go into that hunt expecting to kill a 2-3 year old buck at most.
Yeah.
Like Nevada, we have something special. We don't want to manage for quantity of tags.
Oh, yeah, that's not.
We're
gonna
the
happen.
only western state that manages for quality.
And we were talking about it earlier. There's not a non-resident applicant that is gunning for Nevada to shoot a fork and horn.
Yeah,
Or
when
shoot a small
non-residents have to wait so long to get a Nevada tag, you're going to lose all your non-resident applicants, which are half of the money that NDOW gets in applications.
Yeah.
You're going to lose all those applications if they come here and their chances of a forky.
So let's
Like, if they don't have a chance at the reason
Yeah.
they're applying in Nevada
so they can kill something
is
decent.
so they can get a big buck, because a lot of Utah hunters, they're used to going out and seeing, like a 140 class buck is a big buck to them.
Yeah.
That's a wall hanger trophy, like possible once in a lifetime.
And it is to me when I go out of state too.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm like 140.
they put in
150.
for Nevada because they know they have the chance at a really big mature buck.
Yeah.
And as a resident, we're spoiled on that, and a lot of people don't recognize that because they don't hunt out of state.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let's keep Nevada the way it's been kind of going.
and there's
we've
plenty-
been doing a good job.
Yeah, there's plenty of Nevada. NDOW does a great job.
Stop killing does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stop killing does. Don't bring back toe tags.
Yeah.
But like NDOW does, of all the western states I've hunted, NDOW does the best job managing wildlife.
Yep.
There was one other thing I was going to say about that. Oh, you can kill a 200-inch buck in every unit in Nevada.
It's about every unit.
Every unit.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll stop with
Okay,
that.
cool.
Question 21.
All right, 21. The department manages Nevada's mule deer population using a buck to doe ratio of 30 bucks to 100 does. Using that ratio, Nevada manages for bucks on the landscape and issues fewer tags compared to many other western states. With that in mind, what would you prefer? A, continuing managing for a buck to doe ratio as is. B, lower the buck ratio, increase tag number recommendations. C, increase a buck ratio, reduce tag number recommendations. D, I don't understand the buck to doe ratio or its bearing on tag numbers. And E, I'm not sure.
I'm going to say continue managing for a buck to doe ratio as is without managing doe deer. Like no more doe tags, quit killing deer. You have that control sex, and then you manage the bucks accordingly, because what we were talking about earlier, you can manipulate the amount of buck tags, you can manipulate that ratio if you're harvesting both.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a good system, but
And I think
still,
it's,
even that's a small gripe, because they don't over-manage, like, they don't over-allocate doe tags. It's always been maximum 3% of the population of deer within the state. Nevada, by far, for all the Nevada residents out there that think Nevada, like NDOW does a horrible job, they do the best job
Yes.
of all the wildlife agencies in the West.
I would like to see what it looks like though if we don't shoot does for a while.
I would love to see. I don't think we should shoot does until we have a population of 150,000.
I mean, yeah, it's
And even then, like, you're going to have to convince me why we need to shoot does.
yeah, and there's a lot of factors, and we're not bagging on any of the biologists out there, but
No, they do a great job comparatively.
but it'd be interesting to see, especially in areas.
There's always room for
Especially in
improvement.
areas that have enough to sustain bigger populations of deer. And some of these burn units that we're coming out of now after 4 or 5 years of burn in the winter range, and maybe maybe we can sustain more deer. I don't know. But I'd like to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
All right, 22.
Currently, hunters who draw a tag for horns longer than ears antelope and antlered elk, or bighorn sheep ram are subject to a waiting period. Being in a waiting period means you cannot apply for or accrue points for a specific hunt. Are you in a waiting period for any of these hunts? I just finished my elk waiting period.
Yeah. I think I'm still in waiting period for sheep.
Yeah. I like the waiting periods.
I'm good with them.
Yeah.
Because I had an opportunity to get a tag, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about sheep.
It helps everybody have an opportunity.
It helps everybody have an opportunity.
I like it.
No, I'm good with waiting periods.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm good with where they're at now, because they've decreased by 3 years. They've decreased the elk.
Yeah.
They've decreased antelope by 2 years.
Yep.
So you're 3 and 7.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's no, I'm good. I'm good waiting.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think it's great. I like the waiting period.
All right, 23, right?
Yep.
Yeah. 23. Below you will see the current waiting period duration for each hunt on the left. Please fill in the right column using the drop downs to tell us how long you think waiting period should be for each hunt. Select a number 0 to 10. Current waiting period, there's a column. So you got a column that says 3 years, horns shorter than ears, or horns longer than ears, antelope. 7 years for antlered elk. 10 years for desert bighorn sheep is where we're currently sitting.
Yeah. So it's basically just asking the people who got the survey, how long do you think the waiting period should be for antelope, elk, and bighorn sheep? I love where elk and bighorn sheep are. Antelope, you could probably get away with 2 years instead of 3, but I got no gripes on the 3-year wait. I think it's fine.
Yeah, it used to be 5.
Yeah, it used to be 5 if you harvested.
Elk used to be 10.
If you harvested,
yeah, if you harvested.
Now it's either way.
Either way.
3 or 7.
And honestly, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
The build-up is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, you may wait another 9 years after that 7-year waiting period to get a tag, but
yeah.
You know,
it gives everybody a better opportunity, because if you drop those waiting periods, you have more people in the pool, and you're going to be even your odds of drawing are going to be even less.
But you're not going to kill. You know, if you decrease that substantially, you're just not going to see the quality. Yeah,
well, it's going to be harder to get a tag, right? Because you're just adding more applicants.
You're just adding more applicants. Yeah.
So. No, I like where they're at. I got no gripes. I would like to see elk. I'll say this. I like to see elk down to a 0-year wait period. And I would like to see the elk management plan opened up, and I'd like to see elk from one end of the state all the way to the other, and I'd like to see big herds. Because elk are the most adaptable animal there is.
And I would disagree with that a little bit, because there's mule deer country in this state that has been completely overrun by elk, and now that I've seen some of those units not have elk, or not the abundance of elk, the mule deer are coming back.
That's fair.
And
that's a study that NDOW needs to do.
I like to see these big mature mule deer on the landscape.
I want to see if NDOW can do a study with that, especially in northern Nevada, because Kevin Monteith, a researcher out of Wyoming, he did a study in the Wyoming range of deer and elk, and found that elk absolutely do compete and impact mule deer.
They impact mule deer, and I've seen it firsthand as a guide.
There's a lot of
20 years. I mean,
there's a lot of places in Nevada where they're completely different biomes, right?
Yes.
But there is a section in northern Nevada in Elko County,
yes,
where they share the same habitat.
And yeah, I can the impact the elk have is pretty substantial. So. Yeah. On the mule deer.
Yeah, and I'll take your word for that, because you have boots on the ground for 20 years ago.
And it's good to see where some of the mule deer are coming back in some of these areas.
Okay. 24. Overall, to what extent do you trust the Nevada Department of Wildlife to do what is right for wildlife in Nevada? Almost always, most of the time, only some of the time, almost never, I don't know.
I'm going to say, for myself, most of the time. Other than doe hunting.
Yeah. I'm going to say the same.
I don't know why.
Most of the
I'm
time,
so stuck on
other than doe deer
shoot does, man.
Yeah, it's a terrible
not doe
idea.
mule deer. Not doe mule deer.
Yeah. No, quit killing doe mule deer.
Yeah, just partial.
Yeah, most of the time. People don't know. Unless you hunt out of state, you don't know how well NDOW manages
They manage
wildlife.
well. So well.
They are the best agency in the West. All right.
25. Have you ever had a Nevada big game tag?
Yes.
Yes. Easy.
Yeah. Approximately how many years has it been since you had a Nevada big game tag? Select number of years. You drew last year.
I drew last year.
I draw every year.
I think I draw at least a tag every year.
Thing. People that complain about not getting a tag are people that put in for one unit specifically,
And that's it.
and they want to hunt those units, and they've been putting in for it for 5 years. They can't understand why they haven't drawn a tag. There's up until the last 2 years, I think, there was always leftover tags that went into second draw. Like, if you want to get a tag, you can get a tag every single year in Nevada.
Yeah.
And there were leftover junior tags,
whether
too.
it's a cow elk tag, a short and ears tag, a mule deer tag.
Archery deer. Muzzleloader. Like, you can get tags every year.
Yep.
Yeah.
26. About how many years have you been hunting for?
My whole life.
Yeah, that's a really weird question. Please enter a number of years. Oh, okay.
Yeah. My dad was
40s.
taking me hunting as soon as I came out
years.
the womb.
Yep.
So, while I was in the womb, we were going hunting.
Yeah.
Are you currently, please check all that apply, employed full-time, employed part-time, retired, a student, unemployed, none of the above?
Oh, interesting. How they categorize that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Answer how you will. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
28.
I'm employed full-time, yeah. Answer how you will, yeah.
Yeah.
28.
Are you, please check one, male, female, okay.
Non-binary?
Non-binary? Did you say that?
No, it says
Prefer not to answer. Yeah. Okay.
Definitely male. I identify as male. I identify as a straight white male.
And then they have, what is your age? So we can go through these pretty quickly. What is your ethnicity?
Yeah.
Yeah, you always mess
Joel,
up.
you're white, right?
Oh yeah, I'm super white.
Blanco.
And then 31, you want to cover 31?
All right, 31. If you have any thoughts or feedback for the department that you'd like to share related to the survey or otherwise, please do so here. This survey should have gone to everybody.
It's gone. It's done. We did it.
The survey should have gone to every hunter that applied last year.
And you know what? It's good.
Especially the hunters that have applied the last 5 years. It's a phenomenal survey.
Really
they did
good survey.
such a good job.
Yeah.
The one part they screwed up on was this survey didn't go to everybody.
Yeah.
It should have gone to everybody. It should have been everybody's decision whether or not they wanted to answer it. Because I'm very upset. I didn't get to put my input in.
They probably would have increased their feedback and data pool by at least 70%.
75%. I mean, they get sent it to 25%, right? So probably 70% because a lot of people are going to answer this survey.
Because anybody, and if you're watching this video, I mean, most people in Nevada, especially residents, are going to want to voice their opinion on this.
Yeah,
especially with the questions they laid out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's...
Yeah, the survey should have gone to everybody. I think they really messed up by not sending it to everybody.
And then the results. And what do we know about the results of these surveys?
Yeah,
please
know? Tell us the results of the surveys. Like, don't keep it a secret. The public, like, wildlife is owned by the public and managed by the state for public interest. So it's like, it is our right to know. I mean, when you break it down by, like, it just common sense wise.
Yeah.
Like, we have the right to know the results of this survey.
They asked some really good questions in this survey. And let's just say, for example, let's just pluck out, when you don't get a tag, do you hunt other states?
Yeah.
Well, if you have, and I'm not going to pick on any county, so I'm not going to be biased, but you know what I'm talking about. If you're somewhere where all you're doing is putting in for Nevada, and your opinion is, I should hunt every year, I don't care what the maturity level is, whatever. Yeah. Well, that's different than, I choose to hunt out of state, I choose to go other avenues. That way we can, when I do hunt something in Nevada, it is quality, it's fun, it's mature deer, elk, whatever.
Yep.
You know?
The survey should have gone to
So it would give us a comprehensive look at, and I'm sure they're breaking down the data with the 25%, but.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it's like, it's a big enough pool, they'll probably get close to the same results, but like, you also want to win over public approval, and this is now dissenting 75% of the public because they didn't get a survey. So like, would it take 5 extra minutes to send the survey to everybody?
And it might be the that other 75%, let's say 50% of those 75% sways it to a different direction on how they're going to manage. I mean, it's
yeah.
So get it out to everybody.
Yeah,
I'll fill it out.
I agree. Give it out to everybody.
You make everybody do an HIP number survey every year.
Yeah. Yeah, you do a hit number. But also, you have to do a harvest report.
And you got to do a harvest report every year.
Like, give us a survey.
Why would you not make us do that? I would gladly do this if it was mandatory.
Oh my God, I would love to do this.
Yeah,
I want more involvement with NDOW. I want more surveys like this.
Yeah, I mean it's
great. It was a great survey. The other thing I would say is quit killing doe deer. Leave the doe tags alone for a long time.
Let's just see what it does.
Yeah, and that's something I tell my buddies at NDOW. I was like, hey, let's experiment. Like, you can take one unit.
Yes.
And you can start experimenting, whether you remove all the horses from that one unit, or you remove a drastic amount of predators from that one unit, or you remove a lot of the PJ, and just see what happens over 10 years. See which one works the best.
And
whether it's predator horses or PJ removal. Like when you're in drought cycles, try to lessen the bleeding best you can, and a lot of times, like that means more experimentation. Like Nevada is so unique; it's so different than all the other states.
Yeah, and especially in places that have big migratory patterns that where deer especially move a long ways, and it's like
one of the biggest migrations.
You may populate an area at the end of that winter range that hadn't seen a deer number like that for a while. Yeah, because not all of them will come back. Yeah. Maybe some decide to stay. I don't know. I'm just speculating.
There's always rogue deer.
I'm not the biologist.
Yeah. Like by and large, deer will go once they're become of age. They'll go to the same spot for the summer and the same spot to winter every year. But that starts at like 3-4 years old. Like those first couple of years, they're all over the place, and not every deer is the same. There's always going to be rogues that go off and do their own things.
Yeah, and we've seen some data with area 10 deer that have ended up clear down in into the Lund and 221 area
down south of Ely. Yeah. I mean, there are deer that hard winter that actually surprised a lot of guys in NDOW because they went on these crazy long migration paths that they had been collared for years and tracked for years, and they did the same thing. That hard winter hit, and they were off the map.
That's probably our heyday, unit 13 years, and those were probably unit Ruby Mountain deer.
Oh yeah, they probably originated from Rubies. Yeah,
because But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed what we did here with the survey. I think it's important that we get it out there, and I really think it's important that NDOW gets it out to everybody.
I think so too. I think NDOW does such a good job managing our wildlife comparatively to all the other western states. Like, they are top notch, the best one by far. Yeah. But they really lack sometimes on public approval, and it's things like this where only a quarter of the people got a survey, where it's a phenomenal survey, and now 3/4 of the people are feeling left out and that their voice doesn't matter.
Yeah, and for any NDOW, don't be afraid of some constructive criticism or positive reinforcement with some of the findings from this survey.
Yeah.
Because it's just going to help. It's just going to help strengthen what you've got going on.
We're voicing our opinion on YouTube. We didn't get a survey, so our opinion only matters to whoever they care.
Yeah, whoever cares.
So. We didn't get a survey. This is just our opinion that we wanted to share with the other 75% that didn't get a survey.
Yeah, and if you want a voice, you can write. You can email, right?
Yeah, email down. Yeah, email NDOW and just say, hey, when you do a survey, send me one, please.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being patient with our technical difficulties and what have you, but
we're getting the kinks worked.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I got to learn not to talk over you.
No, you're good. I have to too.
We're getting the kinks worked out.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time. We got a cool treat next time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think we might get a video out before it, but we got a really cool treat. Someone who has experienced deer hunting in Nevada for, get this, over 60 years.
Long time.
The second largest buck ever shot in Nevada, non-typical. She was deer hunting that year that he shot that buck.
Oh, really?
She was deer hunting for years before that, too.
No kidding. Huh.
So we got a lot of boots on the ground experience coming up.
Heck yeah. All right. See you next time.